Hello children, today our next lesson is Indices lesson. Right, what are these indices really? You may know what are fractions, how to write fractions, the decimals, the whole numbers. Likewise, you have an idea to write those things. So now we are going to write indices, index notation. Right, so here I have given you one example. This is the way we write the indices. When we write a fraction, we draw a line in the middle. When we write the decimals, we keep the decimal point in the middle of the number. So in the same way, when we write an index, in index notation, when we write a number, this is the way we write. One number should be written down as usual, and this number in smaller we have written right side of the number. In top, at the top right side I have written that number. So this small number is called the index, okay, and this down number is called the base. Remember these two names. Down number is called the base and this top number is called the index, okay. So in which situations do we need to use these indices? Right, you may have seen some numbers are multiplied by itself many times. For an example, here 2 is multiplied by itself many times. So we can write this as a product. No, I have written this, okay. We can write this in concise way. That means in short form we can write this, okay. This is that short form, okay. That short form is called the index notation. So mainly for an index number there is a base and also an index, right, okay. How do we read this really? We read this 2 to the power 3 or 2 to the power of 3. Here I have written how to read it, 2 to the power 3. Firstly you should read the down number, thereafter this top number, okay, 2 to the power of 3. Next, I told you, as a product when we write a number, it can be written in concise form, and that concise form is called the index notation. Right, now we will see how to write this as a product by expanding how to write this. See, this 2 should be repeated 3 times. 2 should be multiplied by itself how many times? 3 times. So here I can write 2 multiply 2 multiply 2. Whenever you see a product like this, you can write it in index notation in this format, okay. Actually when we multiply these three values, what do we get? See, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. The whole value is 8 here. So this is just a whole number, no. 8 can be written in index notation. Right, okay. Then here I have given you examples in this table. In left side as a product I have shown you some values, and in right side in index notation we need to show them, okay. 2 is multiplied by itself 5 times. So what is the number which is repeated here? 2. How many times is it repeated? 5 times. We will write that 5 up. 2 is the base, 5 is the index. How do we read this? 2 to the power 5. Next, 5 is multiplied by itself 2 times. So 5 is the number which is multiplied, and how many times? It is 2. It should be mentioned up. How do we read this? 5 to the power 2. Okay, base is 5, the index is 2. Next example, 7 is the number which is repeated, so we will write 7 down. And how many times is it repeated? 4 times. We will write it up. So this below number is, the base is 7 and the index is 4. How do we read it? 7 to the power 4. Now you are given two numbers in index notation. We will write it as a product. By expanding we will write 3 to the power of 2. That means what is the number we should repeat here? 3 should be repeated, 3 should be multiplied, and how many times? 2 times. Next, 4 to the power 3. 4 is the base, 3 is the index. 4 should be repeated 3 times by itself. This lesson is easy. And here you have learnt that this 5 to the power 2 can be read like 5 squared also. This can be written in two ways, 5 to the power 2, 5 to the power of 2, or else 5 squared. You have learnt this, okay? So when the power is 2, when the index is 2, you can read it in any way that you want. In either ways you can read 5 to the power 2 or 5 squared. 7 to the power 2, 7 squared. 2 to the power 2, 2 squared. Both the methods are correct. So in the same way, when the index is 3, we can read it as 5 to the power 3 or 5 cubed. Remember that, okay? 5 cubed we say. Then this can be read as 7 to the power 3 or 7 cubed. Next, 2 to the power 3 or 2 cubed. Likewise, in both the ways we can read. So specially remember, squared for the index 2 and cubed for index 3. That is a special point you need to remember. Now children, as an activity 2, you are provided a table. Okay, we will try to complete that table. As an example, the first row is completed and given to you, but I didn't write here how to read it, okay? Anyhow, this is the number given to you. I told you that numbers can be written, few numbers can be written in index notation, okay? Then this is the number which is written in index notation here. This is just a whole number 25, but it is written in index notation, that is 5 to the power 2. So how do we read it? 5 to the power 2, 5 squared. Both the methods are correct, okay? So what is the base? This down number. 5 is the base, 2 is the index. Index must be 2. Next, 81. This 81 is written in index notation, 3 to the power 4. So how do we read it? 3 to the power 4. So what is the base? 3. 4 is the index. In this example, 64 is written in index notation like this, 2 to the power 6. 2 is the base, 6 is the index. Next, 1000 equals to 10 to the power 3. This is in index notation. This is just as a number. So the base is 10 and the index is 3 here. Now you are not given in index notation. You are provided the number 243 should be written in index notation. Okay, but you are given these two clues. The base is 3, index is 5. So easily you can write the below number as 3 and the top small number is 5. So how do we read this? 3 to the power 5. 3 to the power of 5. Next, index notation, base, index, nothing is given but this. How to read it? 5 to the power 4. Then we know that 5 to the power 4 is written like this. So the base is 5, the index is 4. Now children, we will go to some example questions. See the first one. You are given few examples as a product. Okay, by expanding you are given this and we need to write it index notation. Okay, see a single number can be seen only 3, so we can write this as 3 to the power. 3 is the number which is repeated, and how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 to the power 5. Next, we can see two numbers are repeated. 2 is repeated 3 times, 5 is repeated 2 times. So we will write these two separately. Such indices can be there. There can be more numbers which are repeated. Okay, 2 is repeated 3 times and 5 is repeated 2 times. So what is the relationship between these two? This product multiplication, only this much. Then 1 is repeated by itself, so 1 to the power 3, it is repeated 3 times, that's why I wrote here 3. Next, 10 is the number which is repeated. How many times? 4 times. Next, here also we can see two different numbers are repeated. Okay, 3 is repeated how many times? But you can see 3 is located in two different places. 5s are also located in different locations, not like this, not together they are located. It doesn't matter, we will take them separately. 3 is repeated 2 times and 5 is repeated 3 times. So, as a product we will write it, index notation. Next, 3 is repeated 2 times, 7 is repeated 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 times, and we will put multiplication mark here. Next, 2 is repeated 2 times, 3 is repeated only once, so you can write 3 to the power 1 also, okay, or else without writing an index, just even you can write. Once you write this, it represents once that number is there. Then 5 to the power 1, 2, 3. Next, find the value. Firstly, before finding the value, you see these questions are given in words. So, firstly we will write them in index notation. Okay. Thereafter, we will write them as a product. Finally, by multiplying, we will find the value. Okay. See the first one, 2 to the power 5. 2 is the base, power is the index, 5. Now, we will write this index notation as a product. 2 should be repeated 5 times by itself, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, we will multiply this and get the answer. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 16 times 2 is 36. 32. So, as the answer we can write here 32. Right. Next, 3 cubed. Okay, whenever you see cubed, you should know the power, the index must be 3. The base is also 3 here, 3 cubed. Now as a product we will write 3 should be multiplied by itself 3 times. Right, here when we multiply this, what will come? 3 times 3, 9, 9 times 3, 27. This is the whole number. Next, 5 cubed. 5 is the base. What is the index? Cube means 3. Okay, 5 multiply 5 multiply 5. We will multiply this. 5 times 5, 25. 25 times 5, 125. Right, you may not know the multiplication of 25 times 5. So, at that time, in a side, you multiply 25 by 5. Then get this answer. Okay. Next, 10 squared. 10 is the base. Squared means index is 2. Okay, then how do we repeat this? 10 should be multiplied by itself 2 times. Now children, by using our usual multiplication, no need to multiply with these type of numbers. That means when you multiply a number by 10, 100, 1000, 200, 500 like that, simply you can count the zeros and get the answer. You think like this firstly. Count the number of zeros. There are 2 zeros. Place them at the end of the number. Now what are remaining? Ones are remaining. No. 1 times 1 is 1 only. Why did I teach like that? Just think you not only tens and hundreds and thousands are coming. No. You just think 200 is multiplied by 350. Okay, at this time you better count the number of zeros. There are 3 zeros. Place them at the end of the number. Now what are remaining? 2 and 35. Now you can simply multiply 2 by 35 and place it front. 2 times 35 is 70. Okay, like that. Next, 10 to the power 4. 10 to the power 4. 10 is the base, 4 is the index. Now we will write it as a product. 10 should be multiplied by itself 4 times. Here also it's simple. How many zeros are there? 4 zeros are there. Place the 4 zeros at the end of the number. Then what are remaining? Only ones. So when we multiply 1 by itself, the answer is every time 1 only. Now children, see this question, evaluate. Right, that means we will find the value of this. Right, you are given few examples in index notation. So firstly, we will write these as a product. Thereafter, by multiplying, we will get the answer. We will find the value. That is the evaluation. Okay. Right. See the first example. 3 multiplied by 2 squared. 3 is written only once. So we will also write it only once. Then after putting multiplication mark, 2 to the power 2 means 2 multiply 2. 2 should be written 2 times. Now we can multiply this. 3 times 2, 6. 6 times 2, 12. As you wish, you can multiply. To the other side also you can multiply. 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 3 is 12. Any method is correct. Next, this example. Right, 1 to the power 5, that means 1 should be repeated 5 times. 1 is finished. Now 2 squared, 2 multiply 2. 3 squared, 3 multiply 3. Right. Now children, here you should remember, when we multiply 1 by itself, we get the result as 1 only. Okay. So it doesn't matter how many times you multiplied 1 by itself, the result is what? 1 only. So from these we get only 1. Okay. So forget about this one for a moment. Now here in the order you can multiply. That means 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. Then 12 times 3, 36. You can follow this method. Or else I will teach you another method. What is that? See children, you see 2 separately, 3 separately. So I am multiplying those 2 separately. Okay. 2 times 2 is 4. So I join the line because I multiplied those 2. Then 3 times 3 is 9. Then we forgot about this part now, because when we multiply any number by 1, that same number is coming. So forget about this. Now what is remaining here to be multiplied? These 2 results should be multiplied. Okay. So 4 times 9, 36. Any method is correct. Okay. Next, see 3 to the power 4. 3 should be repeated 4 times. Now children, as usual, if we multiply 3 times 3, 9. 9 times 3, 27. 27 times 3, 81. Like that we can get. Or else another method. 3 times 3, 9. These 2 I finished. Thereafter these 2. Again 9. Then we have finished these 2, but remaining these. 9 times 9, 81. So that is another method. Right, as you wish, you can multiply. Next, 2 squared, 3 cubed, 3 times. 5 squared, 5 should be repeated twice. Right. Now as usual, when we multiply, how do we multiply? 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 3, 12. 12 times 3, 36. Then 36 times 3, if you don't know, you have to multiply. Then again that answer should be multiplied by 5. Likewise you need to do. Okay. So I am not going to follow that method. As I told you earlier, you can multiply 2 separately, these 3 separately, all these 3, then 5 separately, likewise also. But here I am following another method. I can say 2 and 5. You know, when we multiply 2 and 5, we get what? 10. Okay, in addition also, not in this lesson, in addition also we tend to form tens by adding, then it becomes easy for our easy to get the answer, right? So here also by multiplying we will form tens. For the easiness I am taking the first and the last. 2 times 5, 10. So these two are finished now. Okay, next these two, 2 times 5, another 10. These two are also finished now. Now these three are remaining. 3 times 3, 9. 9 times 3, 27. Okay, then what are remaining as the numbers? Now all these three original numbers are finished. Now remaining 27 multiplied by 10 multiplied 10. We know that when we multiply by tens, we need to place them at the end, right? So 2 zeros are there now. I am placing them at the end of the number. Then here what is there? 27. This is easy, right? If you want, if you really want, you can multiply from the beginning to the end. Okay, otherwise in this way also you can multiply. Okay, now children, I hope that you have an idea about the index notation. Okay, so here we are going to represent a number as a power of a given number, right? That means now you are given just a whole number. Okay, now you are going to write this number in index notation, right? So you may remember that we wrote some as 2 to the power 3, 5 to the power 2, 7 to the power 3. Likewise we wrote in index notation. So how are we writing a given number as a power of another number, right? That means in this format, how do we write it? Okay, simply what you have to do here is, they have given us a number now here. The main number is 16. 16 is the number we are going to write in index notation in this format. But here they have taken us to get the power as 2, as a power of 2. That means in this way, as a power of 2, this is the number given to us, 2. The base must be 2 here, base is given. So what should we find to write in index notation? The index should be found, the top smaller number should be found. How do we write it? Simply by dividing. Now children, we will divide this 16 by 2. But how? Using our usual division, long division? No, downwards only we are dividing. I am writing 16 here and drawing 2 line segments like this, because downwards I am going to divide. Dividing by what? By this number 2. Okay, 16 divided by 2, what is the answer? 8. I am writing it down. Okay, then again I need to divide this answer by 2. See, now the line was drawn little bit right side. Okay, see the same line segments I drew like this. Again we are dividing by the same number given to us. 8 divided by 2, answer is 4. Again draw 2 line segments and again we will divide by the same number. 4 divided by 2, 2 is the answer. Again we will divide, but until what? There should be an end now. Dividing without stopping. So remember, until you get 1 as the answer, you should divide repeatedly. Okay, so here again we will divide. Answer is 1. Right, now you may have a problem that if you got an answer like 7, how can we divide it by 2? It's not divisible by 2, no? Like that you may have a problem. But children, here when we are given the value here, when we given the whole number to write as a power of this one, this number as a power of 2, when we write, there won't be any answer which is not divisible by 2. So no need to worry about that, no need to bother about that. If you are given to write this 16 as a power of 4, we need to divide by 4. So any answer, when we in the division, there won't be any answer which is not divisible by 4, remember that. Okay, when you are provided the value like this. Right, now we got 1. When we got the answer as 1, stop from there. I hope that you understood this. Now children, see this 16. 16 is the number we are going to write in this format. No, before that, now we can write all these values in left side as a product. Okay, so here 2 can be multiplied by itself 4 times. Now children, the whole number is written as a product after dividing like this. Now children, simply you can write this in the index notation 2 to the power 4. In index notation we wrote as a power of 2, we wrote this whole number. Okay, now the next example is 16. Now we need to write 16 as a power of 4. Now this number 16 should be divided by what? By 4. To downwards we need to divide. 16 divided by 4, answer is 4. Then again divide by 4 because the provided number is 4. 4 divided by 4, answer is 1. Until you get the answer as 1, we need to divide and then stop. Now children, in left side we can see 4 is repeated twice. So here the number given to us is 16 here. 16 is the number we are going to write in index notation. So 4 is repeated. The provided number is repeated 2 times. Then we can write 4 squared, 4 to the power 2. In index notation we wrote it. Next, 125 as a power of 5. Right? Then 125 should be divided downwards by what? By this provided number 5. Right. Now, if you don't know this, you can divide. You can use long division method and divide. 125 can be divided by 5. That is your usual division. Okay. Or else this is another method. Okay. See, 1 by 1. Look at the numbers and we will divide. See, number 1. Is 1 divisible by 5? No. Then we will go to 12. With 2 we will see. Now earlier we checked whether 1 is divisible by 5. It is not so. Now we will divide 12 by 5. Inside 12, how many 5s will be there? There will be 2 5s. We will write it down. 2 times 5 is 10. No. Now from 12 when we subtract 10, 2 are remaining. Now that remaining one we will keep opposite 5 in front of 5. Now what is the number which is formed newly? 25. Divide 25 by 5, 5 again. Now again divide this answer by 5. 25 divided by 5, 5. Again divide by 5, 1 is the answer. Now in left side all these values can be multiplied by itself. 5 multiply 5 multiply 5. Right. Then 5 to the power 3. In index notation we wrote this. Okay, now children, in common we will see some questions. Okay, before that look at these two statements. 5 times 2, 5 to the power 2. Are these two same? That means both these statements give us the same idea, or these two are different as you think. Okay, most of the time we get confused with these two. 5 times 2 means as a multiplication we should write this. 5 times 2, just a multiplication. Okay, first number by the second number. Okay, then here 5 to the power 2, it gives us another meaning. 5 to the power 2. See, answers can be same. Answers can be same, but they give us two different ideas. This is just as a multiplication we need to write. This should be written as in index notation. Okay, right. Here when we multiply 5 by 2, 10 is coming here. 5 multiply by itself, 25. Okay, right. Then see, I have given 3 questions in this side. So here we need to check whether these statements are correct or not. Okay, we don't know exactly whether these statements are correct or not. How do we check them? Okay, so if you want, 8 can be written in index notation. The problem is we are not given any number to be divided. Okay, so you better get this index notation one and as a product write it and find the answer. Check whether that answer is equal to this or not. Okay, so in left side I am taking 2 to the power 3. So I am multiplying 2 by itself 3 times. So we will say 2 times 2 4, 4 times 2 is 8. Same answer came. So the statement is true. Next, here also we will take 3 squared. That means 3 multiplied by itself only once. 3 times 3 is 9. Here the statement is wrong. Next, left side we will take 2 should be multiplied by itself 4 times. 2 times 2 4, 4 times 2 8, 8 times 2 16. Not equal. So that is also false. Okay. Then children, in this side another more questions are given. What are we going to do there? You know the greater than and less than symbols. We are going to put those symbols to the spaces given here. Right? That means we need to compare the indices. Okay. See, 2 indices are given. Still we don't know which one is greater, which one is smaller. So what do we need to do? As a product we will write and we will find the value. After finding the value only we can take a decision. Okay. So here 2 to the power 3. 2 multiply 2. That means 2 times 2 4, 4 times 2 8. In this side 3 multiplied by 3. Answer is 9. Which is bigger? This side is bigger. So here we will put less than mark. Next, firstly we will multiply 2 by itself 4 times. 2 times 2 4, 4 times 2 8, 8 times 2 16. Here 4 multiply 4 is 16. Same, both are equal. So we will put equal symbol. Okay. Next, 3 multiply by 3. 3 should be repeated by itself 2 times. Answer is 9. But here the value given to us is 6. So this is bigger. 3 squared is greater than 6. Last one, 8 to the power 1. If you can remember, while we were doing sums, I told you this power 1, if you want, you can remove that power 1. Because this can be written just also when the power is 1, that value, that base can be written as it is also. Okay, not only for this number, 2 to the power 1 can be written as 2, 5 to the power 1 can be written as 5. Okay, that means only once 8 is there. 8 squared means 8 should be written twice. 8 to the power 1 means 8 should be written only once. So just even you can write. So here the value is just 8. Then there 1 should be multiplied by itself how many times? 8 times. And I told you that when we multiply 1 by itself as many times that we want, the answer is what? The result is every time 1 only. So accordingly this side is greater. Okay. So children, this is the main idea about indices, but remember when you go to upper grades you may learn some more about indices. So I hope that you can understand what I taught during this lesson. So now you can engage in your exercises in the textbook, and also the miscellaneous exercises also can be done by yourself.